So after Malayan Union was cancelled, they created PTM 1948, Persekutuan Tanah Melayu. But there has to be an agreement. So the agreement was created by Jawatan Kuasa Kerja. So this committee consists of British, UMNO, and Raja Melayu. They had a few suggestions. Firstly, to combine all of the states together except for Singapore. Number 2, to restore the power of Sultan and Raja. Number 3, to protect the special rights of Orang Melayu and the human rights of other races. Number 4, to create this Dewan Perundangan Negeri, which is basically DUN for every state. And number 5, to have a more strict citizenship criteria. A lot of parties were not happy with this because only UMNO was involved in this creation of PTM. So that included these 5 parties, and these 5 parties combined together to make Putra. There were also some parties who are not happy because their race was not involved, like PMFTU, MDU, and MIC, and they combined together to make AMCJA. So Putra and AMCJA both were against this PTM because it was not democratic. For Putra, their parties were not involved. For AMCJA, their race was not involved. So they combined together to make Putra AMCJA, and they created this Perlembagaan Rakyat, which I'll get to later. Excuse me. So next is this. Even though they weren't very bad, like these people were not aggressive. They were not like murderers like communists. They were nice. All that they did was they spreaded the ideology that they should be independent. But because they do not like British decided to call them radicalists. Even though they are nice people, even not I won't say nice lah, but basically even though they are very peaceful, they only spread like newspapers like this Suara Rakyat to spread awareness on fighting for independence, and they didn't do anything like very bad. They are still radical because they didn't like British. So Putra and AMCJA had a few suggestions. They combined these two together to make this Perlembagaan Rakyat. So Perlembagaan Rakyat had a few notable suggestions. Notably, they want to combine with Singapore. They also want to have an equal citizenship. So this is a bit weird, controversial, because it will limit the rights of Orang Melayu. And then this one is also quite controversial because all of the people will be called Melayu, which is weird for them at least. And everything else here is eventually accepted lah. I mean, like some of the ones that they got accepted included this warna merah and putih should be in the flag, and so on and so forth. So I mean, this one had a few extra colors. This one was more towards Indonesia lah. Like it's more like they probably took inspiration from Indonesia. But long story short, they had a few good suggestions and they had a few controversial suggestions. So they got rejected by British, and because of that, they protested. They did this strike. They basically decided not to work for a day to show that they are angry against British. And then why did PTM happen in the first place? Firstly, Orang Melayu hated Malayan Union. I don't have to mention why. That's all mentioned in Bab 4. Number 2 is after they realized that they shouldn't be continuing Malayan Union, British had a meeting with the Raja Melayu and decided on a few things. Number 1, they want to change their status from a territory back to a protected state. So from a colony to a protected state, from Jajahan to Naungan, and then a new agreement to replace MU, Pesuruhjaya Tinggi, Raja got power, and this phrase to appear in the new Perlembagaan Persekutuan, and not Perlembagaan, this perjanjian. Next is some people from Britain also agree with Persekutuan Tanah Melayu because they believe that if they were to proceed with Malayan Union, they will have the country will break down, the economy will not develop. So they wanted to help with growing the economy of PTM. They decided to go on with to help with the economy of Tanah Melayu. They decided to go on with PTM, And also because British was about to let them go anyway because of this Atlantic Treaty. The Atlantic Treaty mentions that they should give independence to all of the territories, including Tanah Melayu. So they created this PTM 1948 as a stepping stone for them to slowly become independent. So what are the characteristics? Firstly, these two are obvious, and there's also going to be a Kerajaan Persekutuan that is led by Pesuruhjaya Tinggi British, and then there's also MMP and MPP, which are there to assist the Pesuruhjaya Tinggi in running the country. The MMP has ahli rasmi and tidak rasmi, and the MPP is consisted of members from multiple races. Raja Melayu get your power back, and this is shown with Majlis Raja-Raja, where the Raja-Raja can all discuss on certain matters, and most importantly, they can pass the law. Rancangan undang-undang perlu mendapat perkenan Raja-Raja Melayu melalui MLR. And for state level, the Sultan can agree with the state laws. So there's country laws, which is agreed upon by MLR, and there's also the state laws, which are agreed upon by the Sultan themselves. Of the respective state. So MPP was led by Pesuruhjaya Tinggi, and basically they discuss on certain matters and pass laws. But again, for the law to be official, they need to get the Majlis Raja-Raja to agree. So this is where the Raja and Sultan get the power back. For kewarganegaraan, jus soli only applies to Rakyat Raja and Rakyat British. Rakyat Raja means people who are born in a state of Sultan. Rakyat British means people who are born in Pulau Pinang and Melaka. For Rakyat Raja, they have to be Malay or orang asli. So this is different from last time, where even if you are not Malay, you can still become a citizen. However, if you live there long enough, you can become a citizen through registering. But you need to be naturalized, and you need to show that you are not a criminal, and you can and you already live here long enough. Basically, you have to show that you are low-key already part of Tanah Melayu, and that you are already low-key citizen. So you have to show that, and then baru they can accept you to become a citizen of Tanah Melayu. So what are the effects? Firstly, Raja Melayu get their powers back, and this is proven by MRR. And number two is orang Melayu can preserve their special rights, while kaum lain have their basic rights maintained. Like they are not like racially discriminated. I guess you can say lah, compared to other countries. They still have their own special right. They still have their own rights. It's just that orang Melayu get more rights. They also allowed more people to become citizens because even though they made jus soli a bit harder, like it's not really jus soli anymore, they still allow people who are not born in Tanah Melayu to become citizen, as long as they already live here for a long time and they are basically adapted to being as long as they adapted to Tanah Melayu and they are low-key here for a long time, like as long as they've been here for a long time and they've already gotten used to the culture here, they can become a citizen. So that helps with giving them opening more opportunities for people who are not Malay to become orang Tanah Melayu, orang Malaya. So lastly, it creates a teamwork, cooperation between multiple races, and this is mainly proven by CLC. So back then, British didn't really help with having the Chinese, the Indians, and the Malays live together. Like they were all separated. But because of CLC was a way for them to understand each other better and work together. And because of this, British were convinced that maybe they can give independence in the near future. So yeah, because of this CLC, because of this teamwork between multiple races, British became more